When it comes to video games, one name that is synonymous with video games and probably one of the biggest names in video gaming history is, of course, Mario. Everyone knows Mario. Your grandmother knows Mario. Your next door neighbor who's deaf and blind still somehow knows Mario. Everyone knows and loves Mario. And Mario merchandise is, of course, very commonplace nowadays. You can walk into your local Target or Walmart and pick up any sort of Mario merchandise, whether it's a video game, a keychain, a t-shirt, a plushie toy, which I have here that I just think is really cool, even Super Mario pajama pants like the ones I'm wearing right now because I guess I'm a giant child or something like that. But obviously Mario merchandise is alive and well in 2018. You could also look back to the past though and see Mario merchandise. When the NES launched and Super Mario became such a huge hit, there was tons of Mario merchandise. There was Mario cartoons, there was Mario shampoo, there was a huge Mario plastic toy that I used to have that had a big nose and I would chew on it because I guess I was a weird child. But even then, you saw lots of Mario merchandise. But what if there was a piece of Mario merchandise that emerged with the copyright date of 1979? You would think that's impossible. You know, where did this thing come from? What is it? Well, it looks like a big thing in video gaming history has just been uncovered. It looks like the very first piece of Mario merchandise has been discovered. And this is just a crazy story. I decided to do a little research on it after watching John Riggs sort of bring this to light. And so make sure you guys go check out Riggs' video after this video because he's the one that pretty much brought this to my attention, but I wanted to explore it a little bit deeper. So what is this thing with the copyright date of 1979? Is this the first piece of Mario merchandise? Let's find out.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So just a brief history lesson. I'm sure most of you guys know this, but for the younger viewers out there, it is worth mentioning. Before Mario was Mario, he was actually Jumpman. Mario made his debut in Donkey Kong and the arcade game, and Donkey Kong was a huge thing back in the day. It's still pretty big now, and you know, it's one of the most popular arcade games of all time. But that is where Mario made his debut, in Donkey Kong in the arcades. And you know, really Jumpman, or Mario, who he ended up becoming, wasn't really the focal point of Donkey Kong. Obviously, Donkey Kong was the focal point of Donkey Kong. He was the interesting character. He was the one that you wanted to, you know, take out and destroy. So Jumpman was sort of just, you know, a thing of, you know, he was just there. He was just a player. Back in those days, you didn't really have a connection with the character you were playing as. It was more of the bosses and the things you wanted to take out. But what's interesting about this plush is that the date on it. So it's made by a company called E-Tone, and I decided to look into the history of E-Tone and see what they're about. They're a company based out of New Jersey, a toy company. I'm not sure if they're still in business now, but looking back through different eBay listings and stuff, you could see that E-Tone has been around for quite a while. They've been making old toys, you know, there's toys from the 50s and 60s available on eBay with this E-Tone license and E-Tone tagging and branding. So they're a company that has been around for a while. It appears that E-Tone had some sort of working relationship with Nintendo. And the reason I say this is because they actually released an officially licensed Donkey Kong plush. If you've ever watched a Pat the NES Punk episode and you've seen that Donkey Kong plush that he uses in skits and whatnot, that was actually made by the same company, E-Tone. It was made in 1982. But that doesn't explain why this Jumpman, which we presume to be Jumpman, piece of merchandise has a 1979 copyright tag on it. And there's a couple different theories going out there. There's an excellent thread over on Reddit covering this subject with a lot of different thoughts and theories and stuff on it. And I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts and theories on how this came to be. Because obviously the Donkey Kong plush is widely available. You can go on eBay right now and pick one up. There's tons of listings for it, for the one that was made in 1982 by E-Tone. But if you look for a Jumpman plush, there's nothing really listed. So was this some sort of, you know, future predicting toy? Is it just a really weird coincidence? Well, one of the most common things that people are saying is that this was released actually around the same time as Donkey Kong was in 1982, and the company E-Tone just used an old tag to put on the piece of merchandise, which I think makes sense, honestly, because toy companies do that. Even Nintendo does it. You gotta remember, a lot of NES games have copyright Nintendo 1985, even though they were released way beyond that sort of time frame. So it does make sense in that sort of aspect to have, you know, using an old copyright thing just to save time. And if they had a bunch of extra tags laying out from the era of 1979, why not put them on this Jumpman toy? But what's really interesting to me about this piece is that I don't necessarily think it's that cut and dry, because obviously, like I said, the Donkey Kong plush is very widely available. You could go on eBay right now and get a bunch of them right now, and they're not, you know, terribly priced either, which is kind of nice, and I actually might buy one after this episode because it'd be kind of cool to have. But with the Jumpman, with the Super Mario, have you ever seen this before? Look on eBay. Is there any other listing for this thing? So what I want to say about this thing is, I think it was a prototype, because you gotta remember, back in the day, video games were still in their infancy. You know, you didn't know what sort of marketing power video games had. You didn't have the cartoons and whatnot. If we're gonna take this back to the Donkey Kong era, this was before home consoles were really, you know, commonplace. Of course, you had the Ataris and whatnot, but those things were pretty much relied on your imagination. They didn't have characters you could connect with. I guess maybe E.T., but E.T. was already a marketing beast, but still. You did not have this sort of Mario character that kids were connecting with and that they wanted more of in cartoons and things like that. That really didn't come about to the modernization of video game consoles with the NES in 1985. So is this a one-of-a-kind thing? Is this like a prototype where maybe they were trying to test the market out and see, you know, what kids were into? Were they into this Donkey Kong character, or were they into this Jumpman character, who of course became Mario? I think that this could possibly be a one-of-a-kind piece, a one-off that they just made, and somehow, some way, this collector out in Seattle has ended up with it. And if that is the case, this is obviously a piece of video gaming history. This is the first licensed Mario toy ever. And to find it discovered in this sort of way, to find it discovered amongst so much mystery and just so much, you know, controversy and so much, you know, speculation, it's just so amazing. That's what makes video gaming stuff so much fun. You unearth these little secrets, and then you dig deeper. You look into the history of the company. You look into what they've been doing and find out all these secrets and stuff. And now E-Tone is going to be like a commonplace among, you know, video game collectors, because what else could there be? Is there maybe a Paulina plush out there that was a one-off as well? Because you got to remember, it was Donkey Kong, Paulina, and Mario. And I totally understand why they went with Donkey Kong at that time, because Donkey Kong had a bit more personality. You could see it in the Donkey Kong plush that, you know, this is a high quality plush. It's something that kids will gravitate towards. It looks cool, and it's a cool looking thing. Jumpman, he was just a really weird sort of pudgy Italian guy with a lot of facial hair. Oh, okay. Okay. You know, I can make fun of myself. I can make fun of myself. I'm not above that. But no, seriously, I just wanted to make a video on this because I find it fascinating. I do think the 1979 tag is just that, an old tag, but I do think this was a one-off piece. I do think that this is a one-of-a-kind piece of video gaming history, showing the first ever Mario merchandise, showing the first ever Jumpman merchandise, and it's just amazing. It's such a cool story to start off 2018. So I want to thank John Riggs for bringing this to my attention. If you have not watched Riggs' channel, you are severely missing out on some great retro content and just gaming content in general. I will put a link to his video and his channel in the description box down below.
So we all know who this is. You can tell by the red hat, the mustache, the red overalls with the blue undershirt. Well, this is Mario, obviously, or Jumpman. This is Donkey Kong era Mario.
Make sure you guys go check him out. Check out his video as well and tell him I sent you over there. And thank you for watching this video. I sincerely appreciate it. This is the first video of 2018. If you've made it to this part, I'm just gonna ramble for a little bit. You guys saw the new intro, redone for 2018. I hope you guys like that. Give me some feedback in the comments section down below. I wanna give a quick shout out to all of the new Patreon people who have joined since I announced that I'm going into the gaming industry full time. I got nearly, 15, 20 new patrons the other day, and it's just so amazing to see the support of you guys and the support of the community, bringing me into 2018, bringing me into the full-time prospect. I want to know what you guys think of this toy in the comment section down below. Have you ever seen this before? Have you seen anything like it? Do you have any sort of old video gaming merchandise that nobody ever really talks about that could be potentially, very valuable stuff? Because I think this is going to be a very valuable thing if it ever decides to hit the market. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button. Share this video around because it's a pretty cool story in my opinion. And as always, I will catch you guys later on the next video. Later.
RGT 85.